What's up, fans? It's Morgan in Houston here. Today, we're going to be discussing the Saturday Setting the Table segment, where Houston gives you the three most important games to watch this Saturday. Before we get into it, though, make sure you like this video and you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of our exclusive Clemson content we put out every single week. All right, now this isn't necessarily Clemson content, but since we're all college football fans, I think everybody would enjoy this. Now, Houston used to do this in writing, so we're going to try to do this actually on YouTube today. And you've got three meals, okay? You got an appetizer, an entree, and my personal favorite, the dessert. But three meals, three games, setting the table up for you to enjoy your Saturday, and hopefully, come away filled with your, football fulfillment and maybe even your appetite as well. Hopefully you're eating good. But we'll start off with the three games here and we'll go through each one. We'll start off with the appetizer, and you have this as Notre Dame versus North Carolina, 3:30 p.m. on ABC, a 1-2 Notre Dame, by the way, versus a 3-0 North Carolina. Right now, North Carolina is a favorite for 1.5 points. Why did you pick this game, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, this is an inflection point for two teams this season right now. For North Carolina, this is a chance to prove, are they for real or not? We've seen North Carolina's offense as college football fans, and they are very good. And they score a lot of points. They get up and down the field. There has been a little drop off at quarterback play, and I'd be willing to put money that right now, if you offered the Heisman right now, Drake May would be number one on that list with the way that he's played. We don't know if that's going to hold up. There's a lot of season left to go. But this is a good measuring stick to see really how good that North Carolina team is, because it's going to be absolute strength versus absolute strength and absolute weakness versus absolute weakness. Talking about these teams, whereas North Carolina is very much a good offensive team, Notre Dame's defense is equally as good too. They were able to hold Ohio State to 21 points. They had the lead in that game at one point before they just couldn't move the ball at all, which has been the case all year. So it's going to be a very stout defense, and the first one that North Carolina's seen all year. As opposed to both of these teams have major, and I don't mean just like small occasional things, I mean like very much problems on the opposite sides of the ball. For North Carolina, it's their defense. When you're giving up 61 points to Appalachian State and nearly losing that game twice, it's a problem. And then on top of that, they've had several other instances. 28 points to Georgia State, who is not a very good team. That team was able to move the ball on them. And for Notre Dame, look at their offense. They cannot move the ball. 24 points on a Cal team that was their best outing thus far. 10 points against Ohio State, which, the jury's still out to me for that defense. Was it that Ohio State's defense is that good, or Notre Dame's offense is that bad? Because of the big, thing that happened a couple weeks ago when Marshall just walked in there and won pretty handily in that game, 26-21. They have some issues on both sides, and that's why that's my appetizer for the week.
I like that game a lot. I actually ended up picking North Carolina in this game. I have to go with the offense. In today's day and age, it's all about offense. I'm looking forward to seeing what that offense can do. Like you said, putting up 51.3 points per game right now, almost 550 yards per game. So a crazy amount of scoring there on the North Carolina side. On the flip side, like you said, Notre Dame is a good defense, but, can they hang with anybody? Can they hang with an offense that could be set? I mean, North Carolina now looking at could be a 4-0 team after 4 weeks. You mentioned Drake May, a guy who Clemson pursued heavily in the recruiting trail. 72 for 97, 930 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, doing great for sure. So that could be a really cool game to watch. I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's move on to the entree here. Now, this is kind of interesting. Usually, Houston, you do the appetizer, which is like a 12 p.m. game, but your appetizer was a 3:30 game, and then now you're giving me my entree for a 3:30 game. So now I'm conflicted here because you have number 20 Florida versus number 11 Tennessee. Florida 2-1, Tennessee 3-0. On CBS. So it's at least a different channel, so I can at least toggle back and forth. But Why picking both 3:30 games?
Well, let's just say that speedy service at this place that you're eating at, as far as that goes. Also, when you take a look at the slate, the noon slate outside of the Clemson game is not really. I'm going to be watching Clemson only, and let's just say that this week for that game. Not that I don't anyway, but that early slate, I normally have that, but there's some stronger 3:30 and night games, and so that's why I went to on this one. But to get to this game with Tennessee and Florida, I believe the line's going to be closing in at about 10.5 to Tennessee, and I'm actually surprised at that line. And I understand the reason why. Tennessee's hot right now. It's in Eland. They're going to be frothing at the mouth to get after Florida. Florida has some deficiencies on their offense, not as like Notre Dame deficient. They can run the ball, and if they get that going, this could be serious. And that's why I'm a little surprised at the line. Could it cover? Absolutely. If Florida is unable to run the ball as much as they want, I think there's a lot of people that are putting stock more into this Tennessee defense. They've showed off well. They beat a good Pitt team on the road in overtime, but I'm still a little hesitant to crown that. I think Florida's going to be able to move the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Tennessee's offense. Tennessee's offense is similar to North Carolina. You haven't really quite seen the eye-popping numbers yet, like what we've seen, just because you've got that Pitt game peppered in there. But make no mistake, Tennessee likes to score fast, move the ball. They can do that. I think in the end, Tennessee will win this one. But it's good. It could end up being closer than 10 points simply because Florida's going to try to ground and pound and take the ball out of their hands. And if they're able to establish that run, this game's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, it is right now. The spread is favored to Tennessee, 10.5 points. This was one that I went back and forth on because, again, it's another team that is scoring 52 points per game right now. And when I think about that, it's college football. It's the new age. It's passing all over you. 371 yards average passing. Hendon Hooker is my quarterback of the week. My Mickey Plyler's Elite QB Challenge. He's my quarterback that I pick. So I do feel like he's going to have a big game. But the funny thing is, Houston, I actually picked Florida to take the points because it's just, I don't know, something about this type of divisional rivalry type thing, the SEC East old school matchup here. I feel like it is an away game, and that also scares me too. If you said you picked Tennessee to cover, I wouldn't blame you. But if you also said Florida plus the points, I wouldn't blame you either. I do feel like that Tennessee wins this game, but I don't know. I'm going to take the points here and just hope for the best. I looked at the spread, Houston. I think the computer said to pick Florida, and then the spread, like population pick, was 50-50. So it is legit. What are you going to do? Who knows what? Only thing that I hope that comes out of it is that Trevor Etienne has a good game. I always like to see him do good. Even though he didn't come to Clemson, I like to see him do good. All right, so we have our appetizer. We have our entree, which, to be honest with you, Houston, the appetizer is Clemson game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But we have our appetizer. We have our entree. Now it's on for my favorite part of the evening, which is the dessert. And you have up the 7 p.m. game, number 10, Arkansas Razorbacks versus number 23, Texas A&M Aggies. Arkansas looking to go 4-0. Texas A&M now looking to have some sort of success after beating Miami in a game that was kind of sloppy there too. But Texas A&M still, I guess because of that home cooking, is a 2-point favorite. So what's your thoughts on that game?
This is probably the one that I've got the hardest beat on as far as what's going to happen. It's got a similar feel to the North Carolina Notre Dame game, as in Texas A&M's offense has been horrendous to start the season, even with a win over Miami. They're only been able to muster up 17 points, 14 against App and 31 against 1AA Sam Houston State. So points are going to be at a premium. But with that being said, Arkansas's defense is not good. We've seen that against South Carolina. We've seen that against Missouri State. They tend to give up a lot of points as far as that goes. So could this be a game where Texas A&M is able to move the ball a little bit more. Their defense is going to be stout. But with that being said, I feel like the one team that can contend with a stout defense is a team that has great offensive line play and can run the ball. And this team can do it with Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson. Personally, I feel like Arkansas is going to win this game. I think they're a little bit more seasoned than they were last year. I think Texas A&M is going through some growing pains right now. I think they kind of got a little bit hot to trot in the offseason. And I feel like this game is going to be something that kind of, reignites this team potentially going forward for the season. I think Arkansas wins this game close, but I think Arkansas plus the points.
Now, this, I think I said earlier that this is a home game, but it is a home game for the Texas A&M Aggies, but it is actually being played in AT&T Stadium. So make sure you're aware of that as well. 7 p.m. when you're making your picks, it's going to be about 90 degrees, but in the dome. No big deal there. I got to go with the Razorbacks there. Jerry Jones is a Razorback guy. That's why he's hosting them there. So I'm going with the Razorbacks +2. I think it's a steal here. It's as big of a steal as the Clemson game is a steal when it comes to picks against the spread. Arkansas has a terrible defense, passing defense. Texas A&M cannot prove that they can pass the ball. They're averaging 208 yards per game passing in a environment in a college football world where passing is way better than that. So 200 yards is really not any good anymore. So, they just now figured out Max Johnson is their quarterback. They still have that archaic Jimbo Fisher wait till the very last second to hike the ball offense, and it's just completely against what anybody else is doing nowadays, and it's not successful. So I don't have any trust that Texas A&M can win this game. I think Arkansas fans are going to pack the stadium. It's not going to be a true Texas A&M home game, and I feel like that the Razorbacks come out with a win and become 4-0 and stay in the top 10, maybe even working their way up into potential late season playoff talks as well. It's crazy to say that the Arkansas Razorbacks, with a guy that everybody picked on, Sam Pittman, and him being hired there. Oh, this offensive line guy, man, he knows Arkansas, and he knows his team, and he knows how to recruit, and he has built a team around the strengths. Again, they have weaknesses. We know that. But what they're able to do with their strengths is really working for them right now. I look forward to seeing what that game does. So, yeah, we have our appetizer, our entree, and our dessert. I really appreciate you, Houston, for giving us your setting the table for Saturday. And we'll try to do this every week as we go. Hey, if you have any games that we missed and you want to tell us about that, we need to make sure we watch, put in the comments. Or if you agree with us, put in the comments as well. And again, don't forget to like this video.